I'm Julie Christine and this is my beautiful model Debbie, and I am so excited for tonight's live makeover because I have had a ton of requests to do more makeup on mature skin and to teach you guys different tips and tricks. So tonight we're going to do something different. Instead of doing a full face makeover on her today, we are going to go over all the do's and all the don'ts to mature skin. So we're going to do half of her face with the do's and half of her face with the don'ts. So it'll be super fun. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with brows. So the look I'm gonna be demoing like on the do side for Debbie today is just like a natural everyday look for mature skin. For any of you watching that have mature skin, or if you're a makeup artist and you wanna do this look on clients, this is like an everyday, across the board flattering look. And then on the don't side, I'm gonna show you what I usually see that doesn't necessarily look bad. It could just be better with a few little tweaks. So let's go ahead and get started on the brows. So for the don't side, there are two things that I see a lot with mature skin. Usually as we age, our eyebrows thin, and so there's not very much hair there. So what people tend to do is just kind of draw a little line where the hair is. So a lot of times I'll just see kind of like a thin little line. And another thing people do is they'll go too dark for their hair color because maybe they used to have dark brunette hair, or it's just the color pencil they have, but it ends up looking a little bit harsh. So I'm going to use a pencil on her today, and I'm not going to try to make it look bad. I'm going to try to do like what I see. So usually what I see is they'll just do almost like a little rainbow, just like a little arch. Sometimes it's just like a straight line, but usually it's feathered a little bit. Usually people are trying to make it look like brows. We'll feather it a little bit. Blend it in. And I think people go darker because you do want color in your face. Usually we kind of lose like the brightness and stuff like that, so people are trying to do that. So what I'm going to do on the do side is I'm going to match her hair color, and I'm going to use powder so they're a little bit softer. They're a little bit more natural. And I'm going to use an angled brush. This one's by MAC. I think it's the 266. And I'm going to go in with the shade Taupe. This is fantastic for any gray tones or any ashiness, any hair that's not really warm. Like if they don't have highlights put in or any caramel color, Taupe is super good. Medium brown is also good too if they're like darker, like a darker ashy tone. So we're going to use the Taupe, and we're just going to lightly fill them in. So what I see people doing on themselves is they go too thin, but what I see makeup artists doing is they'll go too thick, because it's very trendy right now to have really full brows, but if that's not what your client wants or is comfortable with, like it might be a little much. So I'm just gonna lightly follow the shape of her brows. And I was talking to her before we started, I'm like, you actually have awesome brows. She has like tons of thick hair. And then we were talking about how the 90s was like the worst time for the brows. She said she didn't wear a lot of makeup then. I'm like, that's probably why. If you did, you probably fucked up all your brows, which she didn't. So just because I used a pencil on the don't side doesn't mean like pencils are bad. I actually love pencils. Like if you get the right shade, you can draw in little hairs and stuff like that. But I did want to show you guys powder because powder is the most natural. If you want a really soft look, definitely use powder, and you can build it up. I love pencils and I love pomades too. The only time I don't like to use powder is if somebody's really oily. It'll kind of wear out throughout the day. But usually when you're working with mature skin, you're not so concerned about oiliness anymore, so powder is fine. Okay. I'm still gonna buff that out. Oops, wrong side. To comb it through and just make sure it's natural. Okay, my second do and don't is, we're gonna move on to the eyeshadow, is priming the lids. So my don't would be not priming their lid. Go ahead and close for me. She doesn't too much, but a lot of times as we age, we get a lot of discoloration on the lids. We'll have little veins that peek through. Honestly, even when we're young too, most women deal with this, but we'll just have hormonal redness and stuff like that. So in order to prime your eyes, it's helpful to use a primer that has a lot of coverage. So that's what we're gonna do on this side. I'm gonna use a MAC paint pot. This one's in the shade Painterly. So she kind of has red undertones and this one has like a pinky base. So this is what we're gonna use on her. If you have short nails, you can spread this on with your finger. Because I use it on multiple people, I scrape it out of the pot and then I put it on with a brush, but you can put it on with your fingers or with a little brush. And I don't like to do too much of this because it can be a little bit heavy, it's thick. Another reason I love it too is because it helps your eyeshadows last all day and it helps your eyes look like brighter. Like we're getting rid of the redness, we're getting rid of the heaviness. Okay, easy peasy, that is done. All right, second thing is on the dew side, we're gonna work with only matte shadows today because matte shadows don't emphasize any fine lines, they don't emphasize hoodedness, and they just look more polished. And on this side, we are gonna do shimmers today. So I'm gonna stay in the same tonal family. I'm gonna try to use the same color on each side, but one will be shimmer and one will be matte. We will start with the don't side. Okay, I'm gonna use, this is Shroom by MAC. This one's actually really pretty. It has like kind of a pearlized shimmer. And if you want to see different looks with mature skin, I actually have a good amount on my channel. And I do show, like sometimes I will use shimmer because it's not like a complete don't. Nothing in makeup is like a don't ever do this. Like if you want to wear a hot pink glitter eyeshadow, please do and please enjoy it. But these are like the tips, like this will always look good. This is like a good go-to. Like if you master this, you can learn to branch out and do whatever you want to do and like know what makes it look best and what doesn't. Okay, for the dew side, I think this is called Sweet. This one's by Anastasia. So it's kind of like a pinky nude color, and it's a couple shades lighter than her skin tone, and I'm just gonna tap it under the brows just to lift it up. Okay, for the don'ts, we are gonna do, this is a metallic shadow by MAC. This is a wet to dry. So this is more shimmery than glittery. Like the ultra don't would be like to put super, super chunky, heavy glitter there. But I love this color. This is like a golden brown. This is what I'm gonna do on her other side. So I'm gonna take a fluffy blending brush and I'm just gonna put this in her crease and then bring it down over her lid. So this does have some shimmer in it, but the reason why we don't usually do shimmer on the lid is a lot of times, like as we age, our eyes will get a little bit puffier right here, and you don't really want to bring that forward so much. Like our whole goal is to lift the face and to make everything look really bright. So on this side, we're gonna do, this is called, let's do Bamboo. This is by MAC. We're gonna mix Bamboo and Soft Brown. So same color, same technique, guys, just different finish, matte versus shimmer. So you'll notice, like if you go to the grocery store or the Sephora or whatever and you buy skincare, when it's for mature skin, it always says like brightening or lightening or whatever. Like that's kind of the goal. Like we want to get rid of dullness and look really bright and really illuminated. And she has hooded eyes. Sometimes like I'll do like a lighter shade right here just to make everything pop. But what I'm gonna do with her, because this is an everyday look, I'm actually gonna only use one shadow shade, and I'm gonna go in her crease, and I go up fairly high. Like I wanna leave this part under her brow bone light, but I wanna bring the shadow up fairly high just to open her eyes a little bit. If I keep the darkness too low, everything's gonna kind of look closed and small. So I'm gonna do it in that crease, and then I am gonna bring it down a little bit, but I'm hardly gonna put any color right here. Like I do want to keep that lighter, and because we put that primer on with kind of like a pink base, it already has some pigment on it. Okay, next we're gonna do liner. Let's do the don't side first. Okay, so I'm gonna use the same color on both eyes. We're gonna do black liner today. So usually what I see people do is use a pencil, which is fine. Pencils are awesome. But the thing that's hard about pencils is sometimes they're a little bit harsh. Like it's just really hard to be precise with them, especially if you have hooded eyes or maybe your eyesight's not what it used to be and you can't really see and get a really clean line. Go ahead and close. And again, I'm not gonna like try to make this look bad. I'm not gonna draw like a really thick line, but I am just gonna show you what I see people do. So usually people draw like a little ring around their eyes the size of the pencil. Go ahead and open and look up, and I see them draw under their eyes usually too. And this isn't everybody. Like obviously everybody has different ways of doing makeup. These are just the things I see often that I would like to show an alternative for. And if you do, then that's okay. But now you can see the difference. Okay, so that is my don't. For my do, we're gonna use a gel liner. So gel liner is a little bit trickier to work with. Like I think that's why people gravitate towards the pencil, but it is one of those things that you can practice and it's so pretty. Like it's so worth it. If you can master this way that I'm gonna show you to do eyeliner, you will love it. So I'm gonna take actually the same brush that I use to do her eyebrows. This is like my favorite angle brush, but I'm gonna use a different one. I'm gonna use a clean one. If it's your own personal makeup stash, you can just have one brush and kind of wipe it off in between. Okay, and this is black liner. So what we're gonna do, this technique is called invisible liner. So what it is we're basically filling in all the gaps between her lashes. So we just want to create a really thin, like soft black line where her lashes are, just to brighten up her eyes. Okay, so I'm gonna have you look down and then over this way a little bit. Perfect. Tilt your head back. Good. So I'm gonna lift up her eyes. Go ahead and open a little bit, just kind of be looking down. Good. And it's okay if you need a blink. So what I'm doing is I'm gently lifting up her lid and I'm literally pressing the liner like up into her lashes. You can blink if you need to. I'm gonna put it on a little tray. And the gel liner, like a long wear gel liner, usually dries kind of fast. So you usually wanna work kind of quick. If you're new to this and this just feels so tricky, like for some people it's no problem. For some people that aren't used to it, they're like, oh, this is so weird. Just practice like before you wash your face at night, like when it doesn't matter if you mess up or not. Just do it a couple times and then it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. So what I usually do is I'll put my brush in the gel and then I'll swipe both sides just so my brush is like really sharp, like really flat, if that makes sense. Okay, down and over that way. Yes, perfect. She's never had her makeup done before and I'm so proud of her because this part is so weird. If you haven't had people play with your eye. Okay, look kind of down and over here. Yes. And I love to go near the inside of the eye. I think it's super pretty to have a little bit of depth over there. Kind of look over this way, yeah. Just a little bit. Good. Okay, now you can close for me. So my goal with this eyeshadow look, I just want to make her eyes look very bright, very well rested, nothing puffy. And so this eyeliner technique helps a lot. And if you guys choose this as like your day-to-day look and you master it, it's really quick. Like I'm explaining as I go, so it takes a little bit longer, but it's pretty easy peasy. Okay, look at me. And you can even see now like the difference between the two. This one looks like very clean and bright. Like yes, it's a very minimal look. There's not a lot of shadow, but it just looks very fresh. So I'm gonna clean up under her eyes a little bit. Okay, I also wanted to talk to you guys about skin prep. So with mature skin, I found that like our skin doesn't turn over quite as quick. Like when we slough off the dead skin cells and they naturally exfoliate, like we have to use a manual exfoliant to get those off so that the moisturizer sinks in. So I did exfoliate her before we started and I did do both sides, not just the do side. So her skin is very soft. I'll reach over you and grab some things. Okay. So I did do that because I told her after we were done filming, after we turned the cameras off, I will do the don't side into the do side so she can leave with pretty makeup. So this is Hyaluronic Acid. This one's by Makeup Forever, but if you go to Sephora or your esthetician, wherever you get your skincare, there's lots of different brands that carry this. And Hyaluronic Acid it kind of feels like a soft little gel, and it's a moisturizer. It's super hydrating, and it plumps up the skin, which all of us love, no matter how old you are. So I love to use this on anyone dry, so mature skin or not. If they're very dry and their skin is just like not soaking up the moisturizer, you can do hyaluronic acid first and then your moisturizer, or you can mix it in with your moisturizer. So we're gonna do that, and since she's exfoliated, this is gonna sink in deeper into her skin, and it's gonna be super soft and nice. And then she had pretty balanced skin. I've noticed that a lot with my mature clients. I feel like all like the skin woes of the past, like you've moved on and now you just have really balanced, like smooth skin. Not always, like some people are still oily, but there are still different things you can be dealing with, but a lot of times, mostly oiliness will go away. Okay, this is a really light moisturizer. This one is Murad, I believe. When we get into the winter months and people are like super parched, or if they're not drinking enough water, like I'll use something heavy, but this is kind of like my good go-to. Okay, foundation. For foundation on mature skin, I like to do as thin as possible. Just basically just get the coverage we need, make everything look unified. If you do too much, it emphasizes little lines and stuff like that. So I'm gonna use, this one's Makeup Forever. And I like this because it's like a really, really thin, kind of a medium coverage foundation. Like you can make it as thick or as thin as you want. I'm gonna do it on both sides, actually the same foundation, but I'm gonna show you some different techniques. I need to mix in a second color because she's a little more pink than that foundation. That actually might not even be enough. So one thing I love for mature skin that I don't always carry in my kit is a BB cream. I really love the It Cosmetics. I think you can get it at Sephora and Ulta. It's called a CC cream. And that is awesome because what it is like, it's like a tinted moisturizer basically, but it still has a good amount of coverage. Sometimes tinted moisturizers are like too moisturizer and not enough tint for me. I'm like, there's no point. But that one does give you coverage, and then you get your sunscreen and your moisturizer and your primer all in the same one. So that's really nice. Okay, so on the don't side, I'm just gonna do more than she needs, honestly. Because that's something I see people do a lot. Like, this is a problem like a lot of us do. It's like you're in a hurry and you just throw on foundation, but if you have the time, it's nice to just kind of like analyze your skin and only do what you need. So for this side, I'm just gonna start, I'm using a beauty sponge. I'm gonna go on the other side and do more on that on a second. But what I'm doing here is I'm just starting in the areas where she has more redness and just buffing it in a little bit there. And then when there's not much left on my brush, I'm gonna go outward. So I am putting foundation everywhere because I do want like an even wash of color, especially when you have redness on your skin, which a lot of people do. It does help to balance it if you put a little bit of foundation everywhere. So there's like I hardly used anything, but it just brightens her up a little bit, looks a little more polished. She's a little more red on her chin, so we're gonna add maybe a second layer there. And certain foundations you can layer, like this one you can layer. I can go in with a light layer and I'm like, oh, we need more coverage right there, so I can add a little bit more. Okay, turn towards me. So for this side, just gonna add more. I see this sometimes. I wanted to show you guys this just to emphasize like how awesome it is to hardly use any foundation. But the step I'm going to do next is actually what I see more than like too much foundation. Okay, what I'm going to do next is set it. Actually, first I'm going to do the under eye concealer. But look up for me. Clean that up a little bit. Okay, for under eye concealer, same thing. Like honestly, it's surprising how little under eye concealer you actually need. I need a new tray. So I probably am going to mix 2 colors for her. So I'm going to show you a trick that I like to do with under eye concealer. So the reason people do under eye concealer is because they'll have dark circles, or just because usually we want a concealer that's made like for the eye area. Sometimes foundation up there doesn't really have the finish that we want. But the problem with the eye area is just naturally at any age, we're gonna smile, hopefully, and so the foundation and stuff will crease if you use too much. So I'm gonna show you how to avoid that. And this is a tip that will work for any age too. Like this happens on everybody. It doesn't matter how old they are. Okay. So I see people do this all the time. They just put on their highlighting, so they use a lot of concealer. And it just kind of emphasizes everything. It's kind of funny, like makeup, we use it to cover up imperfections and stuff like that, but sometimes like it will bring them out that we don't even have. Like she has very smooth skin, like doesn't have a lot of wrinkles or anything, but like if you do too much concealer, it will look like you have wrinkles. And I also went a couple shades lighter with the concealer because I do see people do that a lot as well. But for this side, I like on her, I think I'm going to keep it pretty similar, maybe a half shade lighter if that. Okay, I'm going to take the beauty sponge again. Okay, so my trick, go ahead and turn a little bit, is I almost start down here, and then when there's not much left on my sponge or my brush, I gently like work it up so that there's hardly anything here, because this area is the area that we worry about. So I just lightly start down there. And I do, if I'm going any lighter, I do bring it down a little bit. Look up for me. And then very lightly bringing it up. If you are working with dark circles, the best thing to do is to get a really thin color corrector. Like usually if you have blue dark circles, you would use like a salmon, kind of like an orangey peach, and just put that right on the area you need to, really thin, and then do your concealer over top of it. That's gonna look a lot better than just putting on really thick concealer to cover it up. Okay, look forward. Okay, next thing I see people do a lot is, it's kind of natural for us to want to put a finishing powder after we do our foundation. Either we don't want to look shiny, or we want it to last all day, or it's just what we see people do. But for mature skin, and actually for a lot of skin, I like it to look like skin. Like naturally skin has a little bit of shine to it. So I won't powder unless I have to. Like she said she wasn't oily, but if she was, I would only put the powder in certain places. But what a lot of people do is just put it kind of everywhere. And powder kind of fills in our pores and our fine lines, and it emphasizes them. It just looks really cakey, like really texture. Like nothing will add texture like a powder will. And I know a lot of people use like powder foundations to look more natural because it seems like you're not putting as much on. And in some cases I do love it, but in a lot of cases I feel like it actually is like adds more texture and looks less natural than other things. Okay, so she's not oily. I'm not going to powder her at all, but if she was, I will tell you where I would put it. So if she was oily, I would just put it on her nose, probably right between her brows. People would get oily, and then maybe like this area, because this area is where like the foundation, if we're oily, can wear away. But I definitely wouldn't put it up here. I probably wouldn't do, like sometimes with my clients, I will set their under eyes. I'll use a powder specifically for it. But if this is just for like an evening event and not like a wedding where it needs to be super long wearing, I probably won't. And certain concealers dry matte, like that's why we use a concealer instead of a foundation, because the finish is a little bit different. So they're made to be like self-setting, like not all of them use or need powder. All right, next let's do blush. Okay, so one thing I see a lot, which also isn't the case with everybody, but I see a lot when I do private makeup lessons with a client, we'll go through their makeup bag first, and I'll be like, okay, this is awesome, keep it. This probably not, you should probably throw it away. And the thing usually we always toss is the blush, because everybody has this same kind of like dark purpley pink like mauve blush, and it's just like a little bit harsh, I feel like. And I don't own that blush because I tell people to throw it away, but I'm going to try to recreate it with blushes that I have. So we're going to use, for her skin tone, these two are too dark, and the shade usually I see people have is like too dark for their skin. So we're going to mix these two. They're a little bit warmer than the one I usually see people have. Okay, go ahead and smile for me. So this is another thing people do. They were always told like, okay, we need to smile and put our blush on. But I'm going to show you what happens when you do that. Okay, so when we smile, we put the blush on. Now go ahead and relax. When you relax, the blush like moves downward. So like I was talking about before, like our goal is to lift everything and make everything look really sculpted and lifted. So I tell my mature clients actually not to smile while you put on blush. I'm going to show you where I do it. For most people, it depends. Sometimes you can do that, but like surprisingly not always. Okay, so what I'm gonna do actually for her blush, I like light, for her skin tone, I like a light peachy tone, or maybe like a light pink. Rose tones work really good. If you want more of like a medium tone pink, if you have like a medium skin tone or something like that, there's a blush called Orgasm by NARS, and that one's really, really pretty. It's very rose tone, but it has like little golden flecks in it, so it still is illuminating. It brings life into the face. It doesn't look dead. So this is a cream blush. So cream blush is awesome too, because that helps with the whole dewiness, and it looks very, very natural. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. And this one is by MAC. I'm going to put it on my hand and show you. Sometimes you can do lipstick. Like if you have a lipstick in this color tonal family you can do 3 little dots on your cheek and blend it in. It's not always as long wear as like an actual cream blush, but it's fun to try to see if you like the way it looks. Okay, so instead of doing like on her apple down here, I'm gonna do it a little bit higher and just lift it. So we don't want to go too low where their skin starts to go down, but obviously also we don't want to get it up into the eye area, so almost right in between. And I'm going upward a little bit, so we lift everything. And you can use a brush, but this works really good with fingers too. And it's pretty pigmented, like I just do a little bit at a time. I'll show you the brush that you can use. It was the same one I did the skin prep with. It's like a duo fiber brush. That one works really good if you're a brush person and not a finger person. So when I tapped it on, I kept it right in the area I was telling you guys about, but then obviously I kind of blended it outward. Let me see. In person this looks really pretty. I don't know how it looks on camera. Sometimes I do a little bit more product so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. It's funny how stuff translates on camera actually. Like sometimes it'll look really a lot more than I put on, and sometimes a lot less. Okay, so that's really pretty, very glowy. Like it just has like life to her cheeks. Like we want her to look like she's glowing from within, not that we just pounded a bunch of blush on. Okay, next we're gonna contour her. Okay, so what I see when I see people contour is usually they'll do it too thick, too harsh, and they'll drag the face down. The reason why we contour is to change the shape of the face. So if you're not changing the shape of the face the way that is ideal, it's kind of like cancels out the awesomeness of doing it at all. Okay, so I'm going to take an angled brush. Usually what I see people do, just kind of draw a line down. I'm still going to blend it a little bit because I told you guys I'm not trying to make it look excessively not good. I just want to show you kind of like the little subtle things I see people do. And this is a lot warmer. I did not have like that purpley color I was telling you about. Okay, so you'll notice I started at her temple, which is right, and then I brought it down pretty far. So we just kind of drew it down. So turn this way for me. Where I like it is I still start in the temple, but I like to stop almost where the eye meets, like kind of right here, because that just carves out a nice cheek for us, but it doesn't drag this part down. And another thing I see people do is just kind of bring it like too low. I'll show you where I like it. Okay. And less is more. This is an Anastasia contour, and they're very pigmented, so you don't want to do too much. And surprisingly, I don't like to go too low with it. Like, even though the hollow of her cheek is kind of down here, I'm going to lift it a little bit because like I said, I want to lift everything. So I'm just gently going in, stopping right about there. And then sometimes I'll like flick it up, like just blend it a little bit. Like, imagine a line kind of sculpting her cheek like that. That was what we would want to do if we were going all the way in, but we're going to stop about right here. Okay. And I am going to do a little bit on her jaw today, just so you guys can see what that looks like. So whenever you contour your jaw, you want to go downward too. Like, you do not just want to put a line. You want to darken this entire area. I love this for pictures. Like, if you're doing a photo shoot or something, this looks really good because when you take a picture, it's 2D, right? Like, it flattens everything. In real life, we can kind of see like where our jaw naturally ends and stuff like that. So probably for daily, I would probably skip this, but I did want to show it to you guys. And I hardly used any product, and I definitely am blending it in. Okay, next I want to show you guys highlighting, just in case that's something you like to do. So when I see it done incorrectly, there's a couple things. Either they'll use a product with a lot of glitter, like we talked about before. Like, glitter's not necessarily bad, but you just can see it. Like, if we're going for a natural look, we want our skin to look the best. We want to like mimic like what the skin really would be if it was like highlighty. So this one, I'm going to see what this looks like. This one's not super glittery. This is by NARS, and it's very white. So going too light would be a don't. And then this is the problem usually. Like, remember how I was talking about this area being kind of like the no zone? Like, we have to be so careful because that's where we smile and our skin creases. If you put a lot of highlighter up there, which a lot of people do because that's kind of the area we want to highlight, it's just gonna like make it look like we have texture and stuff that we don't even really. Okay, so on this side, I'm going to show you what I like to do. So this product is Hourglass's Ambient Lighting Powder. Still have the Clink Cream blush on my hand. I'm going to wash it off before I get it on myself. Okay, so this Hourglass palette is like very, very finely milled shimmer. So not a glitter, not a sparkle. It's just like a sheen. And so it's fantastic on mature skin because it just is like a glow, and it's very, very soft. Let me use a different brush. And I'm probably gonna do this medium color. It's medium in the palette, it's pretty light. Because the other thing is, if you go too light, then it really looks like you can tell something's going on. So I'm gonna put it like right above her blush, but you can kind of start to see where things would crease if she smiled. So I'm gonna do it right under that. So still up pretty high. And just a really, really light dusting. And if you swirl it with your finger, like press it in, it blends in even more. Super pretty. This is called, I think it's called the Ambient lighting powder, yeah. It's meant to like mimic natural light. Okay, before we do her lips, I wanted to show you lashes. So my don't for lashes would be not to curl them, and this isn't something that like everyone likes to do every day, but it helps a ton if you do. Like I said, our goal is to lift everything up, and when you curl the lashes really well, that is better than even like an awesome mascara. Like it just opens everything up, it lifts it, it's really pretty. So I'm gonna do that eye with no curl. And then I did want to show you guys false lashes. Like those aren't really a do or a don't, those are total preference. But I want to show you how big of a difference they make. And for me, sometimes I feel like they're faster than curling your eyes. Sorry, go ahead and look this way. Forgot to tell you to look the other way. Okay. Look up for me. So she said she's never had her makeup done before. It's like super weird for me to curl her lashes, which is totally fine. So we're not going to curl that eye for you, but I am going to show you guys what the lashes look like because they're awesome. So we're going to do, these are Ardell Demi Wispies. Actually, this isn't the Ardell brand, but anything this is D-Wispy, Demi Wispy is like a very similar shape. These I buy in bulk. They're like the brand of the store I get them at. And I'm going to do a clear lash glue on her because she hasn't ever worn strip lashes. I'm so excited, but her eyes will probably flutter. So if you're like a blinker or your eyes water, probably do the clear glue because then like it's not going to get anywhere. The lashes are awesome because I would still probably curl the natural lashes before you put on the strips, but you don't have to because the way we set them in, we're going to set them up at an angle, so that is going to lift your eye, and then we'll add mascara after. But these make a big difference. Like we kept the eyes so neutral, and lashes are really, really fun, and they look so pretty in pictures. And we had to do them because she's never had them done before. Mm-hmm. Lashes are another thing like the liner that's a little bit tricky if you've never done it. It just takes a couple times. Certain lashes are a lot easier to put on than others. So if you've never done it before, the Demi Wispies are super awesome. They're very easy. They're a good beginner lash. And I like them because if you were to do like more makeup, they would look a little more glam, but they look very natural. Like with this minimal day makeup look, these will look good. Okay, I'm gonna have you look down for me. Don't close. If you need to blink, that's okay. And we'll see. I debated, we might need to trim these on her, but I think this is okay. And these are gonna feel kind of weird until the glue is dry, then they're gonna feel normal. Oh, you did so good. So what I kind of do, like I get them positioned and then I'm going to push them up a little bit with my finger. Like I said, I want them lifted, so that's like the illusion that we curled them. And the reason I didn't have her close her eyes is because when we close our eyes, all of our skin kind of folds in and they're not going to be in the right place. And when you close them, the glue can kind of seep downward into your bottom lashes. And I don't want her lashes to get stuck together. They did, it's fine. You can unstick them, but it's ideal not to. I want to know, so everyone watching, let me know how you guys feel about false lashes. Are they easy for you guys to put on? Do you wear them ever? Have you never worn them? Let me know. Okay, why that dries before I put on mascara, I'm going to show you one more thing with the eyes. So something I see people do a lot is like when we get made up, we want definition to our eyes. So I see a lot of people do kind of like a heavy shadow under their eyes, which can be good. There is the right way to do it. I don't know, a lot of people I do shadow under there because I think it's pretty. But I wanted to show you something without shadow underneath, like just like a very lifted, everyday, bright-eyed look. I am going to add some to that eye though, so you guys can see. Look up for me, because I do see that a lot. All right. Okay, I am going to add just a little mascara. So the reason I like to do mascara, even though I did the false lashes, is because it helps stick the natural lashes to the strips. Sometimes when you just put the strips on, our natural lashes grow downwards or straight out. And so when you're looking at someone to the side, you can see like the strip and you can see their natural lash. So I like to press them together so that it looks like she's just born with awesome lashes. And you can look down if you need to, whatever's comfortable. And look over this way so you're not looking at the wand. Okay, now look over this way. Good. So whenever you're doing something on yourself like the liner or the lashes, if you tilt your head back and like look down into a mirror, that's gonna get all the angles that I'm getting from her when I just lift up her eyes. Okay, we just have lips, guys. Oh, and I think we have some questions. Might need to grab my husband's phone because I think mine's dead. Hi, guys. Okay, Holly said you can definitely see a huge difference in the sides already. I can see the cake on the left side and the right side looks so much more natural. Totally, and I'm sorry, I spoke to you in the gym. It does, it makes a really big difference. And when you have such awesome skin, like embrace it and try not to use as much mascara. Yazina, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, says, I live for lashes. Definitely, yes. Yes, girl, me too. I love lashes. Holly loves false lashes too. She says she can't put them on to save her life. They look like grow feathers on me. A lot of people tell me that. I think I'm going to do a class like just for lashes. I was talking to my friends the other day. I'm like, I think we need to have a live lash class. So like I bring you in and I show you on camera so that people can watch and like tell me the issues they have and I can like help you guys fix it. Because lashes are the best. Once you learn how to do them, like you will never not do lashes. At least sometimes. All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, for lips. For lips, I do like to line them for mature skin. I feel like it's a very common thing I see on mature women to get feathering around the lips or it just doesn't last long. Or we've lost like that natural fullness of the lips. Or coloring. Sometimes what I see happen is people's natural lips will still extend, but the pigment in the lips is kind of more in the middle. So what I usually do is I'll take a very flesh toned liner and I'll just fill in the lips and I'll extend the natural lip to like where it looks like it kind of wants to be. And this helps with feathering. So lip liners are a little more matte than lipstick, so they're gonna stay in place longer. So if you put a lip liner on first, your lipstick won't feather, it'll look a little bit cleaner and it will last longer. So we're gonna do some lip liner. And a lot of times I will, like if I line the lips, if it's not the exact same color as my lipstick, I'll fill in the lips a little bit because I don't like the look of like a liner around the lips and then like a light lipstick in the middle. So hers, I'm not really going to extend her lip like more than her natural shape, but it is a little bit like her lip extends, but then there's not as much pigment on top as there is on the inside. So common, that happens with almost everybody. That's why I really like the lip liner. Okay. This one, and you could use even like a shade lighter than this pencil if you really wanted to be flesh toned, but I wanted you guys to see it on camera. Okay, for lipstick, we are gonna do, this is Peach Blossom by MAC. MAC has my favorite lipsticks. I keep trying other companies. I keep ordering like new makeup because I use a lot of the same like go-to colors, but I just love theirs. I am gonna mix it. This one is Kim Kardashian. She came out with like this cherry blossom palette, and this is lipstick number 1 of her pinks. I'm gonna mix a little bit in. So this is very similar to like the blush we did on her. I like to kind of use the same color palette. If I'm doing peachy pinks, I'll do peachy pinks. If I did rose on her cheeks, I'd do like more of a pinky lip. So let me know what you guys thought about tonight's class. I think I want to start doing kind of more topics like this. Like I'll still do full face makeovers if it's a new look I want to show you guys. But at this point, I have a lot of videos accumulated on my channel. Like if there's any age group, any skin tone, different looks, different eye shapes, I have a lot of it already. So now I want to teach you guys like different topics. I have like a Google Doc, and whenever you guys comment or leave a comment in the chat, like I'll write it down. So I have like the mature skin was like by far the most requested. So if there's other stuff you guys want, let me know. And then when I'm deciding what to make videos on, I definitely like look at that list. Look towards me. So the lipstick, probably now you can't tell like a huge difference, but like if I left her like this as the night went on, like this side would stay and this side would totally just like dissipate. You don't have a lot of feathering. Some people do, like some people's lipstick will migrate like pretty far out. But yours doesn't look, do you ever have that happen a little? Not really.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, you don't look like you do so much. Okay guys, this is the completed do side and this is the don't side. Let me know what you guys think, how it translated on camera, and what you guys would like to see next. I have models lined up till the end of the year every Thursday night. So every Thursday night at 8 p.m. I'm going to live stream a makeover or a different topic for you guys. So make sure you come back next Thursday. Thanks guys.